The business session of the June 6, 2023 meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. All council members are present. Welcome to our guests and visitors. We provide an opportunity for the public to address the city council on any agenda item or during the hearing of visitors portion of the agenda. On items other than public hearings, speakers will be allotted one 3-minute presentation regardless of the number of agenda items the speaker wishes to address. If you're here to speak and have not filled out a registration card, please see the city secretary staff at the registration table outside of the auditorium so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item of business is to consider the minutes of the May 16th, 2023 regular city council meeting. These minutes were provided in your meeting packet. Are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, these minutes will stand approved as submitted. The first item of business is to present a proclamation to Dean Brad Tobin. Dean Tobin, if you would join me at the podium, and I think Josh Borderud is going to come down the podium with us.
Nice.
It's an honor to honor Dean Tobin's retirement from the law school. I have the privilege of having worked for Dean Tobin as a student worker back in 2005 when I was an undergraduate student at Baylor, and then went on to go to law school at Baylor under the leadership of Dean Tobin. And I owe so much of who I am as a man to your leadership and your vision for the law school, and we're so indebted to you. I know Councilmember Borderud feels the same way, who's currently even an employee of the law school. And I would invite Councilmember Borderud to share a few words if you wanted to speak.
Anytime I can speak on the wonderful nature of my boss, I would love to just expound at length, but Brad Tobin has been at the helm. He's in his 32nd year as our dean of Baylor Law School. And to give a sense of history, I was in 8th grade in Fairway Middle School, now defunct in Killeen, when he took over at the helm. Ann Richards was governor and George H.W. Bush was the president of the United States. But in his tenure, not only has Baylor thrived and risen in the legal academy across the nation, but he has also, for the purposes of our community, just expanded the pro bono and community service aspects and has trained generations of service-minded lawyers, which is at the heart of the law school's commitment and what it instills in our Baylor lawyers. And so it is, hopefully both Dylan and I are a testament to that, but we are so grateful for everything that Brad has done, which Waco has reaped in terms of service-minded lawyers getting involved in serving others in our community.
That's right. Well said. That's exactly right. And with that, I'll read this proclamation. I, Dylan Meek, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Waco, Texas, do hereby proclaim June 6th, 2023 as Dean Brad Tobin Day in the city of Waco, and urge all the citizens to join with the city council, city staff, and me in expressing our appreciation of the service in the legal profession and to celebrate the 32-year career of Dean Brad Tobin. Hailing from Missouri, Dean Tobin graduated from the University of Missouri at St. Louis with a Bachelor of Arts with honors in political science. He then graduated from Baylor Law with a Juris Doctor degree with honors in 1977. He received his Master of Law from Harvard Law School in 1981 and then taught at Indiana University School of Law in Indianapolis. He joined the Baylor Law faculty in 1983 and was named Dean of the Law School in 1991 at the age of 36. Dean Tobin is the longest-serving law school dean in the nation, and he is an elected member of the American Law Institute and is served by appointment by the Governor of Texas as a commissioner to the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws. Over the past 4 decades, countless alumni, faculty and staff, and students have cherished his wisdom and warmth. He exemplifies a life of faith and instills an educational culture that feels like a family. Above all, he stresses that service to others is at the heart of the legal profession. His legacy of service is a profound one. Under his leadership, Baylor Law launched many programs that serve our community. The People's Law School, Adoption Day, the Veterans Clinic, the Immigration Clinic, and many others. I join with thousands of others in higher education, the legal profession, and our community in expressing my deep appreciation for Dean Tobin's leadership and service. Testimony whereof witness my hand and the seal of the City of Waco this 6th day of June, 2023. A huge honor to give this proclamation. Thank you, Dean.
I can't let this pass. Baylor Law School is all about serving those who need help. And I have always emphasized, as the mayor indicated and as Josh has indicated, that that's at the heart of the legal profession. And I'm so proud of the team that we have at the law school. But sometimes as a teacher, which I am, you get a moment of special delight. And I look to my left here, Mayor Dylan Meek, who used to be an undergraduate student worker in our office. And I look to my right, Councilman Josh Borderood, who leads up our Veterans Clinic program that serves so many of our first responders as well as veterans. And this is one of those moments where you just see it all come together in leadership. Jim, you also spent some time at the law school, I know.
If you would have been dean when I was there, I would have finished law school.
But I'm very honored by this. It belongs to a remarkable team at the law school, my faculty and staff colleagues, and our alumni in this community make possible what happens at Baylor Law School. Thank you all so much.
All right, the next item to consider is public hearing 2023-396.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution approving a variance request to the Waco subdivision ordinance to delete the requirement for the extension of a sanitary sewer main for the proposed subdivision plat entitled Final Plat of the Cervantes Edition, Lots 1 through 2, Block 1. By a vote of 7-0, the Plan Commission recommended the variance request in accordance with Section 7.1001 of the subdivision ordinance, based on the following findings and conditions. That extraordinary hardships or significant practical difficulties may result from strict compliance with the subdivision ordinance regulations, and the effect of the variance will not be detrimental to public safety, health, welfare, or injurious to other property, and due to the specific conditions or topography of the site involved, strict enforcement of these regulations would impose an undue hardship to the applicant. We do have two conditions. That property owner must submit on-site sewage facility planning materials and suitability study prepared by a professional engineer or registered professional engineer in accordance with Chapter 285, Section 285-4, Facility Planning OSSF rules, and pay a $50 review fee to the City of Waco, and that further subdivision of the lot that increases the number of lots will require the extension of the public sewer main to serve the new subdivision.
Are there any questions for staff? We will open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
Move for approval?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes.
Yes.
Ewing.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-397.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution approving the following subdivision plat, Final Plat of the Cervantes Edition, Lots 1 through 2, Block 1. Plan Commission recommended by a vote of 7-0 that subdivision plat be approved.
Are there any questions for staff? We will open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Now we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
Borderoot.
Yes.
Ewing.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-398.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to CC Waco 521 Land Holdings LP for excavation, mining, and removal of any material, including but not limited to sand, soil, and gravel, as an accessory use for a purpose of construction on a property or development of the property for a permitted use by right or by special permit in R1B zoning district on property described as a 44.301 acre tract of land located in the Calvin B. Emmons Survey, Abstract 337, in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, being out of Lot 2 and 3, Block 1, the GAH River Farm Edition, according to the plat thereof recorded under McLennan County Clerk's document, the 2004-03-5248 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. Said lots 2 and 3 being a portion of a 520.808 acre tract described in a deed to CC Waco 521 Land Holdings LP, a Texas limited partnership recorded under MCCD 2022-027229 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, located southeast of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Lakeshore Drive, as known as 1299 East Lakeshore Drive. By a vote of 7-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the request based on the following findings. One, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan, the purpose and intent of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco. 2, the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it's located. 3, the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties with traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the granted special exception. And 4, that available community facilities and services, including the road system, providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use.
Are there any questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Not, we'll close the public hearing. I'll ask for a motion. Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. Please poll the council.
Bearfield. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes. Borderoot. Ewing.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-399.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending multiple sections throughout Appendix B subdivisions of the Code of Ordinances for the purposes of designating the Plan Commission as the approval authority for subdivision of plats, updating procedures, updating department and agency titles and names, and referencing annual fees set by City Council, repealing all ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing a saving clause, providing a servability clause, and finding and determining that the meaning in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 7-0, Plan Commission recommended the amendments as proposed. We did add some sections to the proposed ordinance changes that are included in front of you, including some reporting, quarterly reporting of Plan Commission actions and subdivisions to the City Council, and then also adding some language about the appeal process from City Council decisions to the City Council.
A quick question for our City Attorney, Jennifer Rishi, on this one. Would just a straight motion for approval based on staff recommendations cover the recent additions?
Yes, sir, but if you wanted to be extra clear, you could say with the additions provided today or something like that.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing for comment. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this? No, I'll close the public hearing. I'll ask for a motion.
I move for approval based on staff's recommendations and the revisions provided to council here today.
Second.
Motion second. Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
Borderoot.
Yes.
Ewing. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-400.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. My name is Jeremy Pacina with the Economic Development Department. This is a public hearing on an ordinance amending the project and financing plan for reinvestment zone number 4 for tax increment financing to consider approving an ordinance amending the project and financing plan for tax increment financing purposes pursuant to Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code and expanding the boundaries of the zone to include approximately 1,017 acres with a 2023 taxable value of approximately $25 million. The majority of the land within the expanded zone is underdeveloped, underutilized, and consists of agricultural, commercial, and vacant uses. As a result of the public infrastructure improvements, it is estimated that by 2051, the taxable value within the expanded zone boundary will increase to over $1 billion, generating over $178 million in revenues. Project funding categories include infrastructure, detention and drainage, corridor and streetscapes, trails and connectivity, parks and recreation, facade improvements, small business infrastructure support, and economic development. It is anticipated that the county and community college will participate in the expanded zone at a rate of 70% and 50% respectively. This ordinance comes to you on first reading. On April 27, 2023, the TIF board voted 7-0 to recommend an ordinance updating the project plan and finance plan for tax increment financing purposes pursuant again to Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code and expanding the boundaries of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 4, City of Waco, Texas. As required by law, a notice of this public hearing was published in the Waco Tribune-Herald on May 27, 2023.
Are there any questions for staff? We will open a public hearing for comment. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
Move for approval on first reading?
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Holmes, Ewing,
Yes.
Meek.
Yes. Carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-401.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the comprehensive plan be amended to change the land use designation from suburban residential to office industrial flex on property described as Lot 1, Block 1, of the Benjamin Gonzalez Edition known as 4800 Carson Lane. Providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that zoning map shall be changed so that certain property described above shall be changed from C3 to M1 district classification, providing for penalties, providing saving clause, providing severability clause, and finding determined at the meeting which is ordinances passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 6-0 with one abstention, the Plan Commission recommended approval of the land use designation change based on that the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in the proposed office industrial flex land use designation. And the zoning, based on the findings that the proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised. The property meets all size and width requirements from M1 zoning. The public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in M1 zoning. M1 zoning is more compatible with the surrounding area than the existing C3 zoning, and there is M1 zoning adjacent to the subject property.
Are there any questions for staff? We'll open up a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
Move for approval on first reading?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Holmes, Porterrood,
Yes.
Ewing,
Yes.
Meek.
Yes. That motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-402.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property described as 25 acres more or less, being all of that tract of land located in the H. Roberts Survey, abstract number 751, McLennan County, Texas, being part of that called 70.27 acres of land, describing a deed to Bob R. Davis is recorded in McLennan County Clerk's document 2004-02-7029 in the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and located at the intersection of Old Arena Road and Church Road, south of Highway 84. Shall be changed from R1B district classification and be designated in the R3C district classification, providing for penalties, providing savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. We did get a request to continue this case to the June 20th meeting, and the property owner is okay with that request.
And so Jennifer, we'll open up a public hearing. Jennifer.
So sorry, we're
No.
talking, I know, we shouldn't do that.
We'll open up a public hearing and then there'll be a motion to continue.
That's right. And you,
Okay.
yeah, just leave the public hearing open, please.
We will now open up a public hearing and I will move to continue this until the June 20th, 2023 council meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes. Porterud.
Yes.
Ewing. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to public hearing, 2023-403.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, providing that the code of ordinances be amended by revising section 28-247 and chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property described as lot 11, block 4, the Kiger addition, known as 1320 Wood Avenue, shall be changed from R2 district classification, becoming be designated an R3C district classification, providing for penalties, providing a saving clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determined the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 7-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of zone change based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. The property meets all the area and width requirements for R3C zoning. The existing public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses in R3C zoning, and there is multifamily zoning in the vicinity of subject property.
Are there any questions for staff? We will open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Not, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Move for approval on first reading?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes. Porterud.
Yes.
Ewing. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-404.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, providing that the code of ordinances be amended by revising section 28-247 and chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property described as lot 9, block 35, the Carver Park addition known as 905 Delano Street, shall be changed from C1 district classification, become and be designated in the R1B district classification, provided for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determining the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote 7-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of zone change based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in R1B zoning. 3, the property meets all the size and width requirements for R1B. 4, there's R1B zoning adjacent to subject property. And 5, the proposed R1B zoning is more compatible with the surrounding area than the existing C1 zoning.
Are there any questions for staff? We will open up a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
Porterud.
Yes.
Ewing.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2023-405.
Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, abandoning 2 10-foot wide sanitary sewer, water, and storm drain easements granted to the city of Waco and set forth in a quitclaim deed to Newspapers, Inc., recorded in volume 999, page 183 of the official public records in McLennan County, Texas, and located within property known as 900 Franklin Avenue, finding no duty to maintain, authorizing city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, providing a severability clause, and finding determined that the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 7-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the abandonment based on the finding that utility access for surrounding property is not adversely impacted by abandonment of the easement.
Are there any questions for staff? I will open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Now I'll close the public hearing. I'll ask for a motion.
Move for approval on first reading?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
Porterud.
Yes.
Ewing.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, the motion carries. Next, we'll consider the consent agenda. The following resolutions have been pulled from the consent agenda: 408, 409, and 429. Is there a motion on 2023-408?
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
410.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
I think not 408 though.
Not for,
Okay. The following items have been pulled for the consent agenda, then rather, is 409, 410, and 429. And so I'll ask for, is there a motion on resolution 409?
I'll move for approval on 409.
Motion and second, any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes. Ewing. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. And we will, is there, is there a motion on Resolution 2023-410?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
In a second, any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
No.
Holmes.
Aye.
Porterud.
Yes.
Ewing. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to is there a motion on Resolution 2023-429? And as a reminder, there's special language that's been provided.
Mayor, if that's a request for someone to do 2 pages of reading into the public record, I will take that up if anyone else would like to. I move that the City of Waco, by one record vote applying to all units of property to be condemned, authorize the acquisition, including the use of the power of eminent domain, if such becomes necessary, to acquire A, 4 permanent water and/or sewer pipeline easements totaling 3.070 acres, B, 4 temporary construction and access easements totaling 1.669 acres, and C, related appurtenances, I never can say that word, I apologize, and facilities needed, all generally located crossing under I-35, running from Flat Creek to Vista View Drive, and being located in the Carlos Ocampo Survey, abstract number 32, McLennan County, Texas, and being out of 1, Lot 3, Block A, Brazos Valley Addition, 2, a 1.079 acre tract, and 3, a 0.81 acre tract, and 4, a tract described in a deed to W.C. Warden as recorded in files number 2015-019-175, 2016030918, and 2019034515 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and volume 1260, page 289 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas, respectively, said acquisitions all being for the purpose of placing, constructing, reconstructing, operating, repairing, inspecting, maintaining, rebuilding, replacing, relocating, and removing sanitary sewer pipelines and related appurtenances and facilities needed for the improvement of the municipal water and/or wastewater collection system, including the system improvements in the City of Waco for the Upper Flat Creek Interceptor Project, and approve the acquisition of 1 perpetual water and/or sewer pipeline easement and 1 temporary construction and access easements for the same project from First Evangelical Church for a just compensation related to the appraised value of $111,206.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Councilmember Holmes, you have to read that if you second it. Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Holmes.
Aye.
Porterud. Ewing. Meek.
Carries, and we'll move to the consent agenda. Consent agenda includes resolutions 2023-406 through 430, with the exceptions of 409, 429, and 410. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Second. Please poll the council.
Bearfield. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
Porterud.
Yes.
Ewing. Meek.
Motion carries. We'll move to ordinance 2023-431.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending Division 23 Brazos River Corridor District of Article 4 District Regulations of Chapter 28 Zoning of the Code of Ordinances for the purposes of modifying lighting and landscaping standards and amending and renumbering the definition section, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on May 16, 2023.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
Porterud.
Yes.
Ewing.
Yes.
Meek.
That motion carries, and we will move to ordinance 2023-432.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code. Provide the zoning map shall be changed that certain properties described as lots 4 and 5, Block 5, Cameron Park Cottages Edition, lots 3 and 4, Block 5, Proctor Springs Edition, known as 421 and 425 Proctor Avenue, 2105 and 2117 North 5th Street, shall be changed from R2 district classification and become and be designated into O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on May 16, 2023.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes. Borderoad. Ewing. Meek.
Yes. The motion carries. We'll move to ordinance 2023-433.
The City of Waco, Texas, abandoning a portion of right-of-way out of South 19th Street described as a 0.507-acre public right-of-way abandonment tract. In the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, being a portion of South 19th Street right-of-way, recorded in Volume 654, page 35 of the Deed Records of McLennan County, Texas, finding no duty to maintain, authorizing the city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance is approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on May 16th, 2023.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading. Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Holmes. Borderoad. Ewing.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, the motion carries. And we'll move to the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for the public to present concerns and address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. Council is unable to conduct any discussion because it's not on our agenda, but we will listen and ask staff to look into concerns and provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. The first card I have is Allie Russell, and on deck we'll have Luke Russell.
Good evening, Waco City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Allie Russell, and my husband Luke and I are homeowners of 118 North 30th Street here in downtown Waco. We moved into our home in May of 2022 and have had the unfortunate experience of living through 2 drunk driver crashes into our property. The first happened in November 22 and the second in May of 2023. We recently requested call reports from the Waco Police Department and found a total of 5 crashes have occurred at our property since 2011. A crash occurred in 2011, followed by 5 quiet years. Then a crash in 2016, followed by another 6 quiet years. Since January 2022, there have been 3 crashes in less than a year and a half. If you're unfamiliar with our home, Washington Avenue turns into our driveway at 30th Street. As homeowners, we have done everything we can to protect our property, from a gate to a brick wall to concrete-filled steel poles to lighting. We need your partnership and assistance in making our neighborhood safe again. Here are our concerns. First, Washington changes quickly from a 2-lane downtown street into a 4-lane residential neighborhood without any warning or signs. It recently became a 2-way street, which has made it more easily accessible and well-traveled. Washington used to be quiet, undeveloped, but now it is bustling with places like Tacovas, Be Kind Coffee, Toasted Yolk, and the soon-to-be Magnolia Hotel. With more and more development coming in on Washington, there needs to be a clear delineation between city and residential. Second, Washington is the only north-south downtown street that ends at a residential address. Waco Drive has multiple stoplights and curbs. Franklin Avenue is well patrolled with multiple stoplights. Austin Avenue has 2 roundabouts to slow traffic. Columbus is undeveloped and has endless stop signs deterring drivers. Washington, the only street that ends at a driveway, has little measures in place to slow speeding motorists. Third, people speed on Washington Avenue and run the stop sign at 29th in broad daylight. This is not just a drunk driver issue, as we've been told by multiple city officials. Also, there are plenty of street signs between 29th and 30th, and yet they seem to have little impact. We need something physical to force vehicles to slow down. A vehicle driving into our property at speeds of 45 to 90 miles per hour should not be possible in a residential neighborhood, and yet it is. We're requesting speed bumps be installed from 26th to 30th Street on Washington Avenue and a roundabout at Washington and 29th, just like Mockingbird Lane here in Waco, which has both of these aforementioned solutions. What will it take for the city of Waco to take action? The previous 2 crashes have resulted in over $30,000 of damages, one of those not covered by insurance, so it came out on us. But thankfully, those are damages that have all been repairable. We hope it won't take a precious life being lost before Waco chooses to take this seriously. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next we have Luke Russell, and on deck we have Lee Palmeyer.
Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Luke Russell, and I'm here today to ask for your help. My wife and I live at 118 North 30th Street, which is where Washington Avenue and 30th Street meet in a T. Our home has now been hit 3 times in the last year and a half by speeding and drunk drivers. The minimum speed at which the house has been hit is around 45 miles an hour. That is 15 miles an hour over the listed limit. At the highest speed, we have been hit at 90 miles an hour. I'm here seeking your help in slowing drivers down on Washington Avenue. We have sat with city council members and have spoken to highway transportation officials to come up with solutions that keep the neighborhood safer for all residents. Unfortunately, I have been met with very little or no communication, even when told that I would be contacted. I have also been met with answers like, Mr. Russell, if we give you those speed bumps and roundabout, then everyone is going to want them. My wife and I have taken the issue into our own hands and have reached out to the mayor, neighbors, and many others to try to find solutions. I have been told by a Waco police officer the night of the crash that I should go take a look at Mockingbird Lane to see what the city of Waco did to keep that neighborhood safe, along with the home that is at the end of that street. When we visited Mockingbird Lane, my wife and I found 8 or more speed bumps, along with a roundabout built around an old oak tree in front of a house to maintain speeds in that area. Each speed bump also included a speed limit sign to signal drivers to slow down. I believe that much like Austin Avenue and Mockingbird Lane, Washington Avenue needs something physical to slow drivers down. Our request is that Washington Avenue has speed bumps or speed humps from 26th to 30th and a roundabout at 29th to keep drivers from speeding from 26th Street. We've been asked multiple times, are you going to move? The answer is an emphatic no, as this is our dream neighborhood. However, even if we wanted to, our property value has drastically decreased because of the crashing hazard it has become. Further, selling the home would not fix the problem, but just pass it on to the next homeowner. The last crash occurred at 8:30 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Our family from out of town had just finished loading their kids into their car in our driveway just minutes before the crash happened. City Council, having lived this, would you feel comfortable loading your kids into a vehicle in my driveway? We hope you see us as more than an added budget item for the year, and rather see us as residents of Waco who desire to make the city safer for our home to once again become a place of rest and shelter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Lee Pallmeyer, followed by Bruce Huff.
All right, good evening, City Council. Thank you all for your time today and your service to our community. I'm here backing up my neighbors. Obviously, I live just right across the street from them, catty corner from them. I've lived at 2925 Washington for the past 16 years now, and we've witnessed about 7 accidents occur at their location, at their house, which all involve drivers under the influence of something. Drugs or alcohol, howbeit, run through their fence, hit the corner of the house. This most recent accident, Luke and Allie did not mention this, but there were little children that were staying in the front corner of the room of that house. Had that driver had gone over just 5 feet over, could have been a child's life or a couple children's lives. So I'm here backing them up, just knowing that, seen it firsthand many, many times that for some reason or another, drunk drivers decide to fly down Washington at incredible rates of speed. Usually in the middle of the night, we'll hear them zip past our house, and then a couple seconds later, a loud bang. I'm in full agreement with the Russells. It's just my nature is trying to figure out ways to solve problems. I've thought about many things that could be done, and discussion with the Russells on my thoughts. I think a roundabout at 29th and Washington would be the most effective means of slowing drunk drivers down, at least. Potentially stopping them if they do hit a little concrete wall around the roundabout, like you see on Austin Avenue. So that's in speed bumps. I think would definitely help with that too. There's been, I think, a little bit of effort by the city putting some bright lights in place. The Russells actually have very bright lights on their gate, and very large gate, kind of out of place there, but it's there to deter drivers from hitting their house. So it'd be nice to see city put something a little nicer in place, more substantial, in order to stop these drivers from damaging their property, possibly taking someone else's life. In addition, there is a large oak tree at the end of the street there that could very well take one of those drivers' lives. And as much as we're upset at the drunk drivers, we care about them too. So, thank you, council.
Thank you. Next, we have Bruce Huff.
Somebody get him on mic.
We have a mic. Give him to them, please.
Go right there. Clint, can you just use this one?
Move the chair and he can.
Clint, that'd be great. Just pull that chair back and I think that mic will work just fine.
There it is.
Hey, Bruce.
Howdy. It works. You just want me to get right in it?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Mayor Meek, City Council, citizens, neighbors, and hopefully tourists. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address the fine mess we're in. Most of you know my commitment in addressing the deplorable state our city and county are in. I started Group W Bench Litter Patrol in 2016 as an anti-litter group picking up litter here. We started by having a litter picking event cleaning up the alleys of downtown and along the Brazos River. Our haul on November 28th of 2016 was approximately 4,780 pounds. And knowing my advanced multiple sclerosis would eventually limit what physically I could do, I decided I was all in. Our short history has yielded 1,164 members in 44 countries who are looking at what we're doing in Waco, Texas, and have been since 2016. Representative Doc Anderson helped us pass law, House Bill 1884. In 2017, it passed and went into effect in 2018. This law gives judges across Texas the chance to impose up to 60 hours of community service in addition to or in lieu in dollar fines for littering. It's intended to level the playing field of offenders who can and cannot afford to pay a ticket. Group W Bench started partnering with McLennan County Probation Department in 2017. 300 plus have graduated from getting their hours with Group W Bench. We have partnered with the McLennan County Probation Department for 6 years now, and we have silently cleared grot spots all over McLennan County. These people take care of District 5's stretch of Highway 6 with a total of 6 miles of adopted highway. This is Texas' longest Don't Mess with Texas Adopt a Highway program right here in Waco. We've been with Keep Waco Beautiful since 2017 and have assisted in several litter picks, mainly cleaning the Brazos River, as well as glass recycling and cigarette butt collection and recycling programs. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Lake Waco, started in 2017. We have put out 20 barrels donated by the City of Waco Parks and Recreation Department, who also provide awesome plastic bags required to do a great job. The amount of tires, rubbish, TVs, mattresses, shoes, drug paraphernalia, tools, bottles, beer bottles, aluminum cans, clothing, Christmas trees, money, dead animals. The list is endless. Yes, I'm bragging. We've got over 500,000 pounds of trash that we have picked up in McLennan County for you folks, for everyone. With regret, we hate to say that we're needed, but hey, we're needed. We have a problem with enforcement. Specifically, in this case, Waco's historic suspension bridge is getting trashed weekly with plastic tortilla bags, especially after the city of Waco spent how many millions of dollars to restore it. There's a rite of passage carried out by Baylor freshmen, tossing tortillas like a frisbee from the suspension bridge towards the relic abutment from the interurban railway. Once the fun is over, they'll tie the empty plastic bag to the bridge girders or empty crevice high enough to stay out of the grasp of normal folks desperately trying to untie and clean up the litter. Yes, litter. It's finable by Waco enforcement of $170 per ticket. But ticket's never been given, ever. Is it enforceable? Yes, it's enforceable. This practice others watch and mimic, and now has a following rivaling Banksy. What the HELL hockey sticks is this all about? I mean, please, City Council, stop this behavior and protect our Waco suspension bridge, starting here. We need signs, we need cameras, we need something to discourage this awful, awful practice.
Mr. Evans, you're way over your time. Just if you can.
I'm done.
Okay.
But thank you guys.
Thank
ever
you so
for
much, and
listening.
thank you for all you do to make Waco a cleaner city. We're grateful for that, and your point is well taken. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else here to speak in the hearing of visitors? If not, we will close the hearing of visitors. Are there any council announcements? Are there any announcements that council members would like to make?
I just have a comment and a thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank all the city staff who joined me at my city town hall meeting last week and provided all the information to our citizens. I want to especially thank Ryan, Lisa, all of you that were there. There were quite a few of us there, and I say us, but I want to thank them for being there and supporting my efforts to get information out to our constituents.
Thank you.
I'm going to echo those sentiments for, on Saturday, we hosted an On the One community conversation, and I am so grateful to the staff that we have, the information that they provide, the clarity that they offer our residents, and just support that they give for me personally, but us as a council and team. So that's from city management on down to the park rangers who come and help. So we appreciate everybody involved in this process.
All right.
Mayor, I just wanted to encourage the public to come on out to Brazos Nights this Friday. We've got the Reverend Horton Heat and the Polyphonic Spree, two bands that I remember rocking out to in the 90s, early 2000s. Just so there's some good Gen X music going on out at Brazos Nights. So join the Borderoos out there. Also want to give a shout out to Councilmember Darius Ewing's first in-person council council meeting here tonight.
You all made it a great one. Are there any requests for future agenda items? If not, we will adjourn this meeting at 6:49 p.m. Thank you, everybody.